Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to 2CTV and another chaotic day and week in the Westminster Village. The government is falling apart, mostly the Conservative Party is falling apart, the government is all over the place. So much has happened so far. I was going to say this morning, but it's already afternoon, but we're going to be talking about the latest updates from Westminster on this weird... It's a non-reshuffle because we've had sackings, Suella Braverman, we're going to talk about that. We've had the return of former prime ministers, and we had a lot of resignations. Resignations have already started. So in this video, we're going to bring you guys up to date with everything that the mainstream media is refusing or failing to give you, or they give you with their own spin. We have our own spin. Anyway, hello to everybody in the live chat. We're going to come to you guys, get your reaction. First things first, let's talk about Suella Braverman. Now we can say the former Home Secretary. She has gone. Yes, she has been sacked this morning by the Prime Minister. He once again surrendered to the mob rule mentality of the media. But also... I just realized the volume might have been a little bit quiet. Hopefully the sound quality is better now. All right, so can you confirm in the live chat if the sound quality is good? But the idea behind this sacking was actually to reshape the whole of the top of the government. And you would think that Rishi Sunak, despite his idiotic policies and mismanagement, you would think that he's a serious man. You would think that he's going to be ready for the election. This is his idea of getting ready for the election, getting rid of Suella Braverman, bringing back David Cameron, which we're going to talk about, and moving around James Cleverly. So, first things first, we've had this reaction already saying senior Conservative sources are telling Sky News that there is already talks in Parliament of a meeting of the new Conservatives group later today, and the agenda item is Suella Braverman's leadership bid. So there is already a conversation about some sort of leadership challenge from Suella, and I think considering that there were a lot of speculations over the last couple of weeks about Rishi Sunak firing Suella anyway, I would not be surprised if Team Suella has already prepared, some sort of play for a leadership challenge. I'm just very confused about in terms of the timing, because we are going to also go through in this live stream the number of resignations we've already had this morning. They are basically, as I said, they're reshaping the cabinet, and it's not looking good. Do you know why? Because this guy is back. David Cameron is back in government. They made him a lord last minute this morning to bring him back into government. So because you have to be either a member of the House of Commons or the member of the House of Lords in order to be appointed as government minister. Although some amateurish journalists are freaking out saying, well, this minister is not elected. We don't elect ministers. Can we calm down? We don't elect prime ministers or ministers. Whether you like it or not, that's the system we have. Over the last few decades, we started voting for party leaders, and now people are getting spoiled. If you don't like it, we could change the whole system. But right now, as it is, you don't have to elect David Cameron to become minister. So the problem with this is that this man who ran away after doing Brexit, he's now going to be in charge of Foreign Office. So foreign policy, the man who messed up the country's foreign policy is going to be in charge of this country's foreign policy. There were some people who talked about Titanic and the deck chairs when it came to this morning's some sort of weird messed up reshuffle thing, but it's not really deck chairs and Titanic. It's more like digging deep and finding the dead captain of the Titanic and making him the captain of a new boat. This is just a little bit weird. David Cameron has released a statement, but after this we're going to go through all the others who have resigned and the rumors about the leadership plot against Rishi Sunak as well. David Cameron said, the Prime Minister has asked me to serve as his Foreign Secretary, and I have gladly accepted. We are facing a daunting set of international challenges, including Ukraine and Middle East. And, at this time of profound global change, it has rarely been more important. for this country to stand by our allies, strengthen our partnership, and make sure our voice is heard. But then you go to the end, towards the end, where it says, though I may have disagreed with some individual decisions, it is clear to me that Rishi Sunak is a strong and capable Prime Minister who is showing exemplary leadership at a difficult time. I want to help him deliver the security and prosperity our country needs. I'm very confused. I'm not actually joking. The Tories have been in government for 13 years. And leadership, well, their new leadership has been around for a while. Why is it that the Tories continue to say, okay, now we are going to be delivering security and prosperity? You can't keep saying it every week. At some point, you need to actually deliver security and prosperity. But that's not the only issue. One of the main problems is that they're going around saying David Cameron is going to be saving the Tory party, right? This is going to change a lot of things, and not for good. Nadine Dorries said, also, this now opens the door for the rerun of George Osborne. Yeah. He will want a safe seat, if such a thing exists, and then into leader of the opposition slot when they lose the election. You heard it here first. Nothing happens by accident for these guys. It is all long planned. The other problem I have is with David Cameron himself. Going back to his statements, regardless of his policies, regardless of the fact that David Cameron ran away after the Brexit referendum and all the other stuff, objectively speaking, a lot of people always thought at least David Cameron is wise. At least, he's a professional. He's a good judge of character, objectively speaking. But the fact that he says Rishi Sunak is a strong and capable Prime Minister completely undermines all that. So clearly the guy is delusional or has lost his mind. Something's happened. It makes no sense. David Cameron should not say this. Again, it's all part of the plan that they had anyway. But, the sycophants are here, ladies and gentlemen. The sycophants. Matt Hancock says, brilliant decision by the Prime Minister to make David Cameron Foreign Secretary. # Foreign Secretary. Superb for the Union. Bringing his experience to guide us through difficult times. He's just talking nonsense. Excellent for the Conservatives, showing Rishi Sunak will fight the election on the centre ground. That's exactly my fear, Matt Hancock. But also, I mean, he's not going to date you, Matt. This is so embarrassing. Sycophants. Speaking of sycophants, there's another one. Ian Dale from LBC. Get ready for this. For moderate, centrist, socially liberal, fiscal conservatives like me, today is a very good day. Out with the appalling Suella. In with someone with experience, political heft and respect. A big welcome back to David Cameron. Daddy's home. And someone just like, this is the real tweet. What? So, in case you didn't know, Daddy's home. A little bit creepy. Anyway, next update. James Cleverly has been moved around again. This guy has been given so many jobs over the last, couple of years. He's now the new Home Secretary. Okay, James Cleverly is a good guy, generally speaking. He's a good friend of mine. But politically speaking, I don't know what's going on. Let's just say I don't know what's going on because it makes no sense. It's also a very, very tough job in the current climate. And you can't just have... James Cleverly is basically a good robotic party man who just, you send him on TV to just defend the party. That's a good thing. Look like a statesman. That's it. But in order to be what we used to call Winston Churchill a wartime prime minister, you now need wartime home secretaries. In order to have someone like that for that job, you need someone to actually be robust and radical. James Cleverly has come out to declare this morning that he will be stopping the boats. I'm not even kidding. He said that. For the past few years, we've had prime ministers and home secretaries. The moment they get appointed, they say, I will be stopping the boats. I'm not really sure when they're going to be stopping the boats, but every single one of them says, I will be stopping the boats. They don't even say, I will try my best to do it. No, I will be stopping the boats. James Cleverly said the same again. He's also said it is an honour to be appointed as Home Secretary. My goal is clear. hopefully. My job is to keep people in this country safe. Now we could judge, we could assess the job within the next year to see if he's done it or not. He shouldn't have said yes to this job. This job destroys careers. Anyway, we've had resignations already. The shape of the government and cabinet is already changing. Nick Gibb has finally resigned as a schools minister. He's been there for decades now at this point. Nick Gibb has resigned. Neil O'Brien has also resigned from as health minister from the Department of Health and Social Care, saying it has been a privilege to serve at the Department of Health and Social Care. Great ministerial team and special advisors and some fabulous officials. Fabulous civil servants. But with so much going on locally, I want to focus 100% on constituency work. So I've asked to go back to backbenchers. I'm also keen to see more of our two small children artwork. Okay. That's Neil O'Brien resigning. We've also had Will Quince also resigning from the Department of Health as Minister for Health as well. I've asked the Prime Minister that I will be allowed to step down from my role as Minister of State at the HSC, and he has kindly agreed. I would like to thank all of the brilliant civil servants with whom it has been an honour and privilege to serve. And the final resignation so far has been Jesse Norman. Jesse Norman, another experienced veteran in the Tory party, has also resigned from the Transport Department. So I'm going to keep you guys posted as we continue this live stream, because I have a feeling we're going to have more resignations. But there are talks about the plots, the leadership challenge. There we go. We've had Rachel McLean. Breaking news for you guys. Rachel McLean has been sacked by Rishi Sunak as housing minister. Okay, wow. It's all kicking off already. So Rishi Sunak has sacked his housing minister, Rachel McLean. The Tories will therefore be appointing their 16th housing minister since 2010 by the end of the day. And Harry Cole from The Sun has said that this sacking has obviously caused a concentration among some in the cabinet. McLean has said, I've been asked to step down from my role as housing minister, disappointed, and was looking forward to introducing the Renters Reform Bill to committee tomorrow, and later the Leasehold and Freehold Bill. It has been a privilege to hold the position. It's very confusing why Rachel McLean has been sacked as well. But that's the latest breaking news for you guys. We'll cover all the others as well. And then we're going to be talking about what Suella Braverman is going to be doing potentially, because there are already talks, and I'm checking my WhatsApp as well, because I'm getting some intel from MPs and parliamentary researchers who are telling me that there's going to be definitely a meeting in Parliament between the Tory rebels, led by Suella Braverman potentially, to talk about a leadership challenge against Rishi Sunak. The letters of no confidence have been going in. Obviously, they do that all the time anyway. It's not really a surprise at this point. Let's go quickly to the super chats. Thank you so much. £10 saying with his sacking, Rishi has listened too much to the number 10 insiders and the media, rather than a person who is more in touch with the party's voters than him. That's a very good point. Aaron says Home Secretary position is poison callous as civil service. I think the rest of the sentence is gone. But yes, I mean, but you should not just say yes to becoming the Home Secretary unless you have a proper plan. And their backing, by the way. Up Your Food Game says the winter weather will stop the boats, and the Snorries will take credit for that. Exactly. So what we're going to have is we're going to have a couple of weeks of bad weather, and in the English Channel, so the small boats, the illegal migrants, it will go down a little bit. And you're going to have James Cleverly declaring victory, and Rishi Sunak's going to dance around on the stage. So that's basically what's going to happen. And then in the new year, chaos again. This is like a Hail Mary situation, by the way. It makes you think it can't be that stupid. It makes you think surely they have a plan, like the likes of Rishi Sunak and David Cameron. You would think that, right? Because right now, none of this makes sense. None of this makes absolutely any sense. Unless they have some sort of magical Hail Mary situation where they've got everything ready, like some sort of banning immigration or something and deporting everyone, some sort of radical plan, which again, I know it doesn't exist, but It has to be because none of this makes sense. Teresa says, I'm not from England, but it's a disgrace to sack Suella Braverman. And can someone please tell certain journalists to stop calling people who support their countries far right? Yeah, that's basically all the journalists at this point. I'm just interested to find out what they're going to be doing when Suella Braverman starts the rebellion, which is apparently any moment now. And the resignations that we've had, and we're going to go through them again later for those of you who join late. The resignations continue, but the sackings also continue. Rachel McLean obviously just been sacked as well as our housing minister. But considering that there is also a discussion about the next general election and what the agenda is supposed to be, bringing back David Cameron doesn't really send a signal that the Tory party is ready to be proactive and renew itself. You're bringing back not just the former Prime Minister, you're bringing back the former Prime Minister who ran away after he lost the referendum. I mean, the problem I had wasn't him running away. The problem was that he picked a side. And then that's why he had to run away. He should have just stayed neutral as Prime Minister, but we know why he chose a side, because of George Osborne. Right, breaking news again. Rishi Sunak has only appointed 2 people in his reshuffle in 4 hours. Oh, there we go. Steve Barclay has now gone through the front door of number 10 Downing Street, despite some reshuffle chatter that he was in danger. So I think Steve Barclay is safe because most of the sackings have been done in the parliamentary office. So usually that's what they do now these days. They'll take the ministers, the existing ministers, to the parliamentary office of the Prime Minister. He stacks them there quietly, and he buries the bodies, and then goes to number 10, and then the new incoming ministers will come in through the front door so people can take pictures and all that. So I'm guessing this should be the end of the sackings. I'm guessing. And again, they might be announcing more sackings within minutes, because I think they prepare the briefings every few minutes so that they don't announce everybody at the same time. So every half an hour or so, we're going to get more updates who has been sacked. So Suella's gone. And as we said, the new Conservatives group, they are already, apparently later, planning to meet up to discuss Tory rebellion and about Suella Braverman's leadership challenge against Rishi Sunak. He created a monster, the Frankenstein monster, and now she's going to come and take the job from him. And it's not just going to be her, by the way. It's also, there is a threat from Priti Patel and Kemi Badenoch, but Kemi Badenoch is still loyal to Rishi Sunak, which is a little bit odd, considering that they are not similar politically speaking. I'm going to come to the live chat, get your reactions as well. I'm when I woke up and I discovered what's going on, return of David Cameron, I had to double check. I had to just keep refreshing my phone saying, no, that's not right. That can't be right. I saw him walking into number 10. I was like, he's probably just going to go for lunch or breakfast or something. He's probably just going to go to have a conversation about HS2. Literally a couple of weeks ago, he was having a massive fight with the government over HS2. And now, not only he's back in government, or the party, he's foreign secretary. Now, maybe he's going to be a good foreign secretary. I can't keep a straight face. It doesn't matter if he's going to be a good foreign secretary or bad in terms of the job itself. Politically speaking, it's poisonous. Politically speaking, people don't care at this point. We have a year to go to the election. He's not going to have enough time unless he's going to single-handedly stop the war in Ukraine and the Middle East somehow. Nobody cares about that if it doesn't actually do that. It's going to be about politics. The next election, people are going to go to the ballot box and say, why is David Cameron Foreign Secretary? I don't like it. He's basically disliked by all sides at this point, which is a shame considering his legacy could have been very, very different. Anyway, Nadine Dorries did say about this is all part of the plan, a long plan, that this is actually opening the door for the return of George Osborne. He wants a safe seat, and then when the Tories lose the election, he's going to sell himself as the next leader of the opposition and lead the Tories. But again, that will just turn the Tories into a huge Lib Dem. They will be like the Liberal Democrats, but blue instead of orange. So much chaos still going on. We're now going to talk about Matt Hancock. He's a sycophant, absolute crazy guy. He's having a big party this morning already because his best friend David Cameron is back in government. Ian Dale. I'm going to talk about this one. It's weird. Ian Dale, presenter on LBC. For moderate, centrist, socially liberal, fiscal conservatives like me today is a very good day. Out with the appalling Suella. In with someone with experience, political heft and respect. A big welcome back to David Cameron. Daddy's home. As someone just texted me. This is serious business, apparently. This is the mainstream media and mainstream politics in Britain. If you're watching this from abroad, from wherever, Canada, US, Israel, France, the Netherlands, this is the state of British politics. If you think you have problems in your own countries, this is on a whole new level. It's just nobody knows who's in charge anymore. It's bad. It's extremely bad. We'll talk about James Cleverly in a second. Let's quickly go to you guys. Get your reaction. Kim, thank you for your super chats saying, can you find out if Larry the cat in Downing Street is safe, please? He has not had any posts on Facebook for a while now. I didn't know that. So there was a bit of a row before David Cameron left office in 2016. People were wondering if David Cameron hates Larry the cat. And then they had to start this weird publicity stunt with David Cameron hanging out with Larry the cat, who's basically the official cat of Downing Street. It was such a weird phase in politics. And now, it feels like we're in some sort of alternative universe, which no one knows what the actual plan is. It is bad. All right, let's find out who else has resigned. We're going to keep you guys posted. Theresa Coffey. Yeah, Theresa Coffey has resigned. Sacked. She's been sacked as Environment Secretary. Oh, the sackings continue, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just going to bring it back on the screen. Oh, Theresa Coffey has been sacked. I'm going to bring the best photo of Theresa Coffey. Because why not? It's only Monday. I'm going to disturb you with this photo. Are you ready? Yes. Theresa Coffey has been sacked from government as well. I'm not sure what the plan is. Again, it's all very confusing because, yes, some individuals have become controversial, let's just say, in the eyes of the media, including Suella Braverman, right? Why did he have to sack Rachel McLean and Theresa Coffey? We have to wait to see who's going to replace Coffey, for example. She was the Environment Secretary. So if they're going to go with a wishy-washy sycophant, just like all the other appointments that we've had from this government so far, then what's the point? Just completely shut down this government, call the election now, and leave. Because people are disappointed, they are offended when it comes to this Tory government, because people always assume that at least the Tories will be competent, even if we don't like their policies. But that's not even the case anymore. Between 2010 and 2015, the coalition government, you could have disagreed with policies or the agenda, but at least it was competent. It was a competent government. And that was despite the fact that you had Nick Clegg as deputy prime minister. That was, generally speaking, a smooth government. I didn't like the policies, but that doesn't matter. Super chat from New Minority. Maya, please form the British Culture Party. We need to stop talking about parties. Every time there's a problem, people say we need to start a new political party. No more parties. We need to start movements and then influence parties. We have enough parties. No more parties. Stop splitting votes. So there's already parties for that, the cultural stuff. There is, I can't even remember the names at this point. The guy who tried to stand for London Mayor, not Lawrence Fox, the other one. Heritage Party, there we go. The Heritage Party. We got that. You got the Social Democrat, SDP. You've got UKIP. You got Reform. You got Reclaim. You got this. You got that. Too many parties. Stop with parties. Anyway, let's find out exactly. Richard Holden has gone through the number 10 Downing Street door as well. We've had 16 housing ministers since 2010. That is embarrassing. This is why there's a housing crisis in this country. This is why this government and also previous government didn't know what to do with housing. We have an open door immigration policy. Mass migration is happening. We're not building enough homes where you can build homes, and young people can't buy, and young people are now angry at the older people, and older people are angry at the younger people. So younger people say, well, we're funding your pensions. The older people say, well, we worked hard. It's a clash of generations, and that's the fault of the establishment, the politicians who created this mess. This could have all been prevented if you had a solid policy on, again, border control as well as housing. But nobody wants to hear this. Instead, what they do is they build ugly, stupid tower blocks with all the flats look like boxes and all look exactly the same, and they fill them in with people because a lot of people are coming in. And then they make very expensive and posh towers, and then they remain empty because they're very expensive, and the only people who buy them are rich Russians and Chinese people who just buy them and leave them empty. And then we wonder why they have a housing problem. We've had so many housing ministers within the last 10 years. It's just so bad. Get Sunak out, bringing in Deadwood instead of listening to the people. We've waited long enough. Let's bring the Tories down to their knees and gone from history. The only headache we're going to have short term is Keir Starmer. But some people say it's worth it. Some people say, no, it's just not worth the risk. But it is what it is. People in this country are still going to be voting blue or red. They're not thinking the way I'm thinking or you're thinking, some of you. Who would say, okay, I could vote blue if the Tories become conservative. Otherwise, I'm going to vote for something else. Everybody will still go with the default position, red or blue, for the foreseeable future, unless actually things change and new parties actually become credible. Everyone's lazy now. All these new parties that are created over the last few decades, they have not learned from history. They have not learned from all the other parties that were created and took over, like the Labour Party, like the Liberal Party, like the Tory Party and the Conservative Party, and before them the Whigs. They are in a rush. They're all in a rush. They create a logo, they bring some candidates, and they have a party leader who becomes the one-man band. And then that's it. They don't have a plan, and they just sit there, moan and complain, saying, oh, the electoral system doesn't work. Oh, well, everyone votes blue and red. And you become a protest party. And then they have the fan base. The fan base go around every year. Oh, vote this, vote that, vote UKIP, vote Reform, vote Lib Dem, vote Green. Shut up. Stop saying that. There's no plan. There's absolutely no plan. None of these parties are serious. I've been saying it, even Reform, if they want to be serious, focus on building local branches, stand in local elections, get councillors in, and then stand for general election. And don't even mention the leader. Forget about party leader. Hide the party leader. Get all the local members, get the superstars to become local champions. Guerrilla campaign. That's what the left did. That's what the Labour Party did. That's what the Lib Dems did. That's what the Liberal Party did. And then you can become a credible party. Then you could do fundraising. You could actually get big money behind you. It doesn't have to be corporations. It could be £5 from each ordinary person in the country. That were millions of pounds. And then you can actually challenge the parties. Instead of sitting around, keep losing, and then moaning, saying, well, the electoral system doesn't help me. Even if you change your electoral system, you're still going to lose. That's the point. It keeps happening to all the other left-wing parties in the other stupid countries who keep changing the electoral system. And they say, well, why are we still losing? Because it's not about the electoral system. You can change the electoral system, fine. Feel free to reform it, but that's not the only problem. All right, let's breathe. Yum Yum says, can the UK have a real Conservative Party? That's the main question. It's the job of the Tories to sort out their party, and if they're not going to do it, then other parties can get together and do something. So we have supporters of other smaller parties. We got Ian saying English constitution is what we need back. We have Frank saying heritage for Britain, reform. Heritage for Britain and reform should form one party, but that was still not going to be enough in terms of membership and money and everything else. If Reform Party was serious, they would go in with all the smaller ones, but twice one. Reform is our only hope, unless they listen to the House of Devils. I mean Lords. Well said, Maya. Been trying to tell reformers this. Yeah, if you want to be serious, you have to actually do something with the party. You can't just say, vote Reform. That makes no sense. People have been saying this for decades. Vote UKIP, vote BNP, vote Green, vote Lib Dem. It's tiring. But that's not the main point. The main point is we had the Conservative Party and it's now dead because the Tories have been infiltrated by a bunch of liberal wet green nutters who kick out. By the way, we didn't even cover this. Do you know why Suella Braverman was sacked? We didn't even mention this at the beginning of the live stream. She was sacked primarily because her comments were controversial about the protesters, the anti-Israel protesters, and the Metropolitan Police. She was sacked because of words, because of comments. She was not sacked because of policy. She was not sacked because of some sort of treason or betrayal. No, she was sacked because of comments. By the way, comments that were correct. Comments that essentially most people in the country agreed with. She points out the hypocrisy of the Metropolitan Police. She mentioned that the protesters, a lot of them are jihadists, which is true. And then she was fired by this Prime Minister. Well. And now, the new Conservatives group of the Tory party are gathering later this afternoon, apparently, to have a conversation about Suella Braverman preparing a leadership challenge. And the fact that this guy is back, I could actually see a situation, because we mentioned what Nadine Dorries said. Quickly go back to Nadine, saying this is going to open the door to the return of George Osborne so that he could become the next leader of the opposition. But I could also see a scenario where David Cameron would stay, and then if Rishi Sunak loses the election, they could just make David Cameron party leader again and the leader of the opposition. And that could be the end of the Tory party as we know it. There was also a lot of theories saying, well, they brought him back to repel Nigel Farage from rejoining the Conservative Party. They only brought David Cameron back so that Nigel thinks, oh, I don't want to join the Tories anymore, to stop him basically from coming back. That was, I mean, not the only reason, but it could be a bonus reason for the liberal Tories. Angel Wings says, very sad. She's honest. Best wishes to her. God bless you, Suella. They're just making her more popular, which is kind of fascinating. Because if they had just allowed her to stay until the election, a lot of people on the right would have been angry at her for not stopping the boats. But now she's going to be the hero. Aaron Bacon says, for Britain and UKIP merged under the UKIP banner. I didn't know that. It's hard to keep up with all the small parties anyway. There's also a big clash of egos when it comes to smaller parties. That is why they can't unite. There's a clash between Reform and Reclaim, UKIP and Reform, this one and that one. And this is why we have all these problems. Anyway, we haven't talked much about this guy, James Cleverly. It is fascinating where we are now, because James Cleverly is basically the safe option when the Tory cabinet is in trouble. They put him in certain jobs, and he's had so many jobs by now. Education, party chairman, foreign secretary, now home secretary, so many jobs. And he's just supposed to be the safe pair of hands in terms of being a statesman to send him to do interviews. But they are destroying his life and his career. He's become a yes man. He's become a robotic yes man. And he could have been a good Conservative. He could have been very passionate. He could have been more sound. But now even he's now part of the machine. And he's going to be the Home Secretary to stop the boat, apparently. And if he does it, well done. I'll be impressed. I'll be like, well done. Thank you, James, for stopping the boats. But I just can't see it. Because it's not even up to the Home Secretary. Again, you have everything centralised in Numberton and Downing Street these days. Civil service are in total control of our country. They're not serving the ministers. The ministers are serving the civil service at this point. And you wonder why. The whole government is becoming old and tired. Let's go through the resignations. Since this morning when Suella was sacked and David Cameron came back, we've had resignations. Nick Gibb has finally resigned after years of being schools minister. Neil O'Brien has also resigned as a minister, health minister from DHSC. Will Quince has also resigned from the Department of Health and Social Care. Jesse Norman has resigned from the Transport Department. And we've had some sackings. We have Rachel McLean, who's been sacked as Housing Minister, and now Therese Coffey, who has been sacked as Environment Minister, Secretary. Let's quickly double check the latest update on these. I don't know if we could call it the reshuffle or not, because it's a little bit of a mess. It It's just people getting sacked and they're not even being replaced. I'm not really sure what they're up to right now in Downing Street. It's Monday afternoon now. They had time over the weekend to have a plan. If you're going to be sacking ministers, have others ready so that you could announce saying, oh, this is a replacement. So yeah, they had James Cleverly ready to replace Suella Braverman, but all the others, it's just a bit of a messed up situation right now. So Richard Holden, as we said, Tory MP, a Red Wall Tory MP, has entered number 10 Downing Street. He has been only served as a minister for a short period of time, is expected to receive a major career boost up to the Secretary of State. Okay, so in case you don't know, because some of you might not know all the Tory MPs, especially the new ones. So this guy is a nice guy. He's a friend as well, but it doesn't really matter. Friendship aside, this is just about politics. I'm going to put the picture on the screen. This is fascinating. Richard Holden. You're going to see him in a second on the screen. I'm going to talk about him. He's just entered number 10 Downing Street. Richard Holden is young. I believe he's younger than me, or is my age, 35 something. He only became an MP in 2019, a young MP, and he's already been junior minister. Apparently, his body is now inside Downing Street. Apparently, he's going to become Secretary of State. They're going to make him an actual cabinet minister. I mean, is he ready for that? Can you just make anybody Secretary of State at this point? Can I become Secretary of State? Maybe he could do a good job. I don't know, but it's too soon, too young, too fresh. But he's loyal to Rishi Sunak. That is the key. Kay Smith says, so she wasn't sacked. I don't know who you're talking about, but the female ministers we've talked about, they have been sacked. Suella Braverman has been sacked. Trace Coffey has been sacked. Rachel McLean has been sacked. So I'm not sure who is this she, but we'll cover that together. We'll find out exactly who we're talking about. Bring back Boris. Well, there was a joke on Twitter already saying if we're bringing back former prime ministers, are they gonna bring out Margaret Thatcher and her corpse? Barry says, Maya, this is just the start of the liberal left, which Rishi Sunak was trained by via the backbenchers. It's not even via the backbenchers really. It's the complete outsiders. George Osborne and David Cameron are not even MPs anymore. And clearly they've had more influence on Rishi Sunak than MPs. And that's bad. It's not parliamentary. James Cleverly plays with toy soldiers. Facts. Angela Rayner is the cabinet secretary for Free Fags. Brilliant. And so many jokes. Brilliant. Loving the live chat today. New MPs, all Palestinian. They believe that all Palestinians. The Labour Party are all Palestinians at this point. But let's find out what the latest is. Coffey resigned. Well, hang on. Well, they still say she's been sacked. Let's just find out. So there are different versions. Yes, I believe they are now saying Trace Coffey might have resigned before she was sacked. But okay. Well, that makes it worse. Jeremy Quinn has also resigned. The latest one. Okay, let's bring up his letter as well. So, I believe at this point, Trace Coffey might have actually resigned rather than been sacked. I don't know why the media sold it as she was sacked, but okay. That's what they do. Let's bring on Jeremy Quinn, another minister who has just resigned. Bring on the screen. There we go. Jeremy Quinn, in his letter to the Prime Minister, he says, what's going on here? Thank you for your time this morning and for the reassurance that I could continue to serve in government. However, I have decided to step back to concentrate on projects in Horsham. It has been an honour to serve in government since 2018 as a government whip. Minister of Household and Ministers of State for Defense, Procurement, and Policing, Crime, Fire. He's had so many jobs, basically. In defense, it was a privilege to work alongside our armed forces and the department in confronting the threat of COVID, working with our friends in Ukraine, and gathering resources to help them defend their people from Putin's brutal invasion and blah, blah, blah. I am equally proud of the progress we've made during my time as Minister for the Cabinet Office and Paymaster General. It has been a pleasure to support you consistently. Well, that's a bit sassy. Consistently. And I look forward to doing so in the future. So, Jeremy Quinn has also resigned. And I'm just going to double check because I believe, Theresa Coffey's statement herself does suggest that she jumped before she was pushed. So it seems like we're having more resignations than sackings at this point. Who else do we have? That's it. So far, these are the updates. It's so chaotic. Let's not forget that the biggest messed up updates of the day has been the return of David Cameron, which kind of overshadowed the other messed up update, which was the sacking of Suella Braverman. It's absolutely embarrassing. Go to the live chats, get your reaction as well. Ancient Olive says Jeremy Quinn was useless anyway. He was a little bit of a wet lettuce, Jeremy Quinn. It is also he was the, I don't know if you could say he was a Cameroon to that point, but he was supposed to be part of the modern conservatives, essentially, liberal conservatives, but just boring, absolutely boring people. No ambitions. Michael says, who is coming in next? Captain Bird's Eye, Uncle Ben, or Humpty Dumpty? Sick of this rubbish. Yep. I think the plan was to have today sold to the public as renewal of government. That Rishi Sunak is refreshing everything and a new team for the election. So far, it's been a couple of hours, and the reaction from the public and the mood is, what the hell is happening? Or what? Because none of this makes sense in terms of strategy for the Tory party. Why would you bring back David Cameron and think that the people are not going to vote for you? Why would you not push Suella Braverman out so that she would resign? Sometimes sacking someone is better than resigning. Sometimes it's better if you get them to resign. And now you're turning her into a Robin Hood character. She's going to be like Guy Fawkes. They're going to have meetings later this afternoon, the right wing of the Tory party with Suella, to talk about leadership challenge against Rishi Sunak. I mean, it's also terrible timing. You have less than a year to go to the election. I don't know what the plan is. Nobody knows. Anyway, let me just double check to see if there's any other update before I let you guys go. Yes, it's confirmed now. Theresa Coffey did resign. She jumped before she was pushed. She was going to get sacked anyway. All right, so it's going to be a long, busy, and insane day on 2CTV. So I would advise you guys to, if you haven't already, click on the notification bell. And when you click on the notification bell next to subscribe, click on all, not personalized, because you get all. Even having said that, sometimes you don't get the notifications, but hopefully you will. We will schedule our live streams throughout the day, because we're going to do a lot of live shows with all the breaking news. There's also a couple of reaction videos. I'm going to do short videos for you guys as well. There's a quick super chat I'm going to respond to before we go. Aaron says, thank you, by the way. UNESCO's Director General unveils a multi-stakeholder plan to safeguard social media platforms from disinformation and misinformation and hate speech and conspiracy theories. Yeah, nobody asked UNESCO to get involved, and clearly they think they are the gods of morality again. The whole these international institutions, anything that's linked to the United Nations, shut it down immediately and start again. Anyway, we'll keep you guys posted. We have I'm going to give you a preview of what we're going to talk about, apart from the breaking news, which I can't predict what's going to be in the news. We're going to be talking about yesterday, Remembrance Sunday, some disgusting reaction from Celtic fans in Scotland in their stadium. We're going to talk about Greta Thunberg. She had a bit of a clash. It's going to be funny. The government is looking at closing loopholes for the protests, and there's also talk about deportations. So now that Suella's gone, they're going to talk about that, which is funny. And then we're going to talk about the latest from Israel and Gaza as well later on this channel. Subscribe to the channel, and please consider supporting us to remain independent by joining our membership on Locals. The link is in the description. Locals is part of Rumble, pro free speech, and we do a lot of bonus content on there as well. Thank you so much for all the support. I'm Maya TC, and we are the media.